Let me preface this by saying I am a man lover. I love men. I think they're wonderful. I think they're great. So this is just going to be a discussion on a particular thing that some say that I'm just not particularly fond of. And if you're going to be in my comments saying something like, well, women do this and I hate it, okay. All right. So this is directly related to women in a male-dominated field, particularly a field where the attire is not like business casual. Something that would never be said to my face in person, of course, but has been typed a few times online directly onto my page in response to one of my videos is you can't really be welding or wrenching because your pants are tight, or that I'm wearing makeup. What some people that may not follow me probably don't know is that my videos are filmed on my private property. So it is my house and I am alone. Most of them. What I think is interesting about this is implying that a woman, not even just me, of course, I'm talking about all women, is that they are looking for male validation, attention, compliments when they are simply wearing clothes designed for women. I want you guys to remember that doing makeup, wearing clothes that are designed to fit women's bodies, having nail polish on, doing one's hair in a style is not anything out of the ordinary for women. Focusing especially on clothes for right now, another thing I think is a little bit interesting is in one of my recent videos, I was wearing men's pants. I do have some used men's pants that I wear around my farm, and that is because they were cheaper and I'm not going to waste good, expensive clothes on my farm just to get covered in feces and dirt and oil and whatever else. And to my surprise, I received several comments discussing that, what am I wearing men's pants for? And it was really surprising considering I hadn't worn men's pants in a video prior to this instance. And my comments prior to this video were talking about why am I wearing tight pants? Well, because they're women's and women's pants tend to run tight. That is just how they are designed, and they fit women's bodies better than they would fit men's. So as I've said before, I really cannot win with my followers and people who view my videos, and I know I will never please everyone, and that's okay. It's just things that I pay attention to and make a mental note of. It's not like I'm coming here to call anyone out or insult anybody by this. It is just something that is worth noting. It's provocative that people say these things. Makeup. So I do feel funny if I go to the gym with a full face of makeup, but sometimes now that I live in the middle of nowhere, if I'm going into town, I'm not going to go back to town 3 times and make, a half-hour trip, just for something. So if I have my makeup on, maybe to go shopping, do whatever it is I'd like to do, or just that I put it on that day just for fun, to make a video, whatever it is, and then I go to the gym. Sometimes I feel like, okay, I know this looks stupid because I'm going to sweat and whatever, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to drive home, take off my face, wash it, skincare, and then drive back and make an extra half hour out of the day and put miles on my truck and use fuel just to go back to the gym. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when I make a video or I wrench, my face is on, and that it doesn't always have anything to do with the video. It's just normal behavior for me and a lot of other women. Let me add that when I was a kid, I did not wear women's clothes until I was about 14 years old. I dressed solely as a boy until then. I had no interest in women's clothes or being feminine or having feminine interests. I only played with Hot Wheels, Bob the Builder, little excavators, stuff like that, and in the dirt growing up. That's just who I was as a younger person, and some of those more masculine-leaning traits still follow me to this day as a 24-year-old. So now that I'm a little bit older and embracing my femininity and dressing more like a girl, it's only natural that I am going to wear women's clothes. I'm not right now. I'm wearing men's boxers and a men's t-shirt, but, when out in public or working on my stuff, there's a good chance I will be wearing women's clothes because I'd like to remind you guys, I am a woman. And doing natural female things is just part of my life and, probably 2 billion other women. Another thing to consider is male anatomy, of course, is very different from women's anatomy, and pants especially is one where there's obviously a difference in which I cannot say on here, but if you were to put on a pair of my pants, it would be fairly uncomfortable for you, and it would be too tight in several areas. And now me wearing men's pants, they are very uncomfortable for me. For the same reason it would be uncomfortable for you, just reverse. It's very loose in places. It's hard to walk because the seam is so low, and just because I have the anatomy I do, it is not comfortable and is not my number one choice in pants by any means. But the used ones I had that were left behind from a certain someone in my life, I will make use of them because, well, I'm not going to ruin my more expensive FR waxed pants to work on my farm, you know? So I'm just not a huge fan of the narrative that if a woman is dressing as a woman does, that she is attention seeking in a male dominated field. I think this is untrue, at least for myself. You know, if another woman is out there maybe seeking attention and enjoying it, so be it. I'm not even here to bash that by any means. But I just think it is unfair and it's very strange, and it's why a lot of women do not want to join the trades or be in a field that is mostly made up of men. Before I started welding school a couple years into college, I was nervous for it. I was thinking, man, everyone's going to think I'm here for attention or to be different or something like that. But I knew the truth of myself, so I kept going with it. And if you went to school with me, you would know I did not talk to anybody. I was the only girl in my class. I still to this day could probably name you 2 of my classmates by name, 2, 3 of them maybe. I gave, I think, my Snapchat and phone number out to one classmate, and it was because we had to work on something together. So just speaking on my behalf, I did not go to school for, like, whatever it is that some men think that girls do it for. It was merely, I guess, an interest of mine. It was something that was so different from my life that I felt I needed to challenge myself because I needed a big change in my life. My 8-year relationship had just ended. I just needed a change, you know? This video is dragging, so if you've made it this far, thanks for listening, I guess. But when you hear I went to college, you may be thinking, you know, I was living in a dorm, going to parties, having relations, and not that it matters, of course. My college experience was a little bit different because I did do a few years into a different degree. It was a bachelor's degree of exercise science, and then I did the degree in welding technology, which was a 2-year degree, so I was there for many years. I got sober pretty soon into my college career. I have lived off campus my entire college career. I had a house of my own. I did not live on campus. I was not there for anything other than my classes. I did not hang out on campus. I went to class and I went home. I didn't socialize with people. I didn't make friends. I was just there to get my degree and leave. It's, you know, I think it would have been fun to make friends in college, but I was nervous that people would start rumors about me and assume that you guys can connect the dots. It ended up happening anyway, of course, so it was inevitable, but, you know, if you knew me, you knew. I just kept to myself. I did not speak to anyone. I was very quiet. And, yeah. So anyways, I'm sure you guys, someone will be mad at me in the comments, you know, talking about how dare I say this. I just think, you know, if a woman is in a field that is mostly men, she's probably not there for attention. She's just probably not. And if she's wearing clothes that are tight or she has makeup on, just keep in mind she's a woman. And that is very normal. You know, I'm sure if she were to dress like a guy, that other negative comments would be made. So it's kind of like we really can't win. And of course, there are tons of men who are nice and don't pay attention and just go there to get the job done. And that's what it should be. We shouldn't be there looking at what people are wearing and what their face looks like and their hair and digging into it deeply. You know what I'm saying? Like a healthy workplace would just be, you don't care. I mean, you know, I've never been to a workplace or school and, you know, thinking about what everyone looks like and, oh, he wore that shirt. He must be wanting me today. You know what I'm saying? No. That's one point I really wanted to bring up is I never went to school and thought, oh, my male classmate is wearing a shirt that has a little bit shorter sleeves. I think he's trying to say that he wants my attention. You know what I'm saying? So why, if a woman wears a certain article of clothing, is she wanting your attention? I've never thought that about a man. Never in my life. And that is a very common thought for men to have about women. So just remember, you know, I wouldn't think that about you. You don't need to think it about me. If I'm wearing tight pants, it's because I'm a woman and they are pants that are designed to fit women's bodies. That's all. Have a peaceful day. Peace.